Congratulations, Jaki. I am so proud of you, young brother. You did it, and you did it the right way. When you needed help, you went and sought help, and then you kept coming back. I know the odds you were up against, but you proved that impossible is nothing when you put your mind to something. I am proud to call you an alum of Delaware State University, but I'm more proud to call you my good young brother, one who is going to do everything he possibly can to serve as he has been served, to give back in a way that is profound and will affect other young brothers for generations to come. I know the community you're from. I know how important that community is. And I know there are hundreds of young brothers just like you who are looking for an example, proof that they can do it too. My brother, you are proof. Congratulations. I know you'll stay in touch, and just know that Delaware State University and Tony Allen loves you, bro. Take care.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Reach Riverside Lunch and Learn. My name is Logan Herring. I am the CEO of the work group, The Warehouse, Reach Riverside, and Kingswood Community Center. Today we have three special guests: Rhodes, Executive Director of the Christina Cultural Arts Center and Kingswood Community Center Board Chair. We also have Markevis Gideon, founder of NERDiT Now and board member of The Warehouse. And we have Jaki Bland, 2020 graduate of Delaware State University. Good afternoon, gentlemen. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us, Logan.
So there's a common thread between the three of you that I think the audience should know right away. And that is that all of you either were a Riverside resident or still are a Riverside resident, amongst all of the other things that you do to support our resources and organizations within the community of Riverside. So Rhodes, I want to start with you. Just take us back down a trip down memory lane and talk about your experiences growing up in Riverside, whether it's Kingswood Community Center, the community in general, and just explain to us a little bit about what Riverside was like back then.
Yeah, thank you, Logan. So I grew up in a Riverside housing project during probably one of the most pivotal, if not the most pivotal year of our history. And that was 1968 during the riots when Dr. King was assassinated. At the time Dr. King was assassinated, my sister and I, we were actually in Kingswood in the aftercare program waiting for my mother or my grandmother to pick us up. And it was always an indigenous community, tight-knit. We didn't look at it like we lived in the projects, even though we knew we did. My mother taught us how to take care of our things, our belongings. She taught us to treat that house like it was a castle, which we did. So we learned work ethic early. And just being at Kingswood, just the instructors that we had there, the administrators that we had there were always teaching us about what was going on around us. So we learned not only what happened to Dr. King, the magnitude of it, but we also learned the economics of it, the social aspects of it, among the likes of how to integrate into being acclimated into society with these kind of things going on.
Thank you, Ray. Thank you for that account of your history, your personal history, and we're going to get more into that as we go along. So we're going to move to what I feel is like the second of three generations that we have here today from the Riverside neighborhood. So Markevis, you talk about your experiences growing up in Riverside and Kingswood Community Center.
So growing up in Riverside for me it was very pivotal in my life. Like I remember being a younger kid, growing up, running up and down the streets, and I remember back then how it was very family intimate. Like everybody was very close knit, and we were there for each other, even though the rest of the society or the rest of the other communities really didn't see Riverside for what they see it as today. And it was a beautiful thing I remember like learning how to ride a bike up in Riverside and then going straight from there over to Kingswood when we had the twin poets showing us like these are things you need to focus on in life. Like I know what you see today, that don't have to be there for you to, like you can go beyond and then come back to your community to make sure that everybody has that better opportunity to find success in life. And it's just had such an impression on my life going back, so much so that I want to make sure that any way I move going forward, I could come back and share my success with the Kingswood communities, the Riverside community, so that those kids can then go off and have expand that trajectory in life.
Thank you, Markevis, and thank you for all you do for our community. And we'll get into that as well as we move forward. So Jaki, being the youngest generation, and first of all, congratulations, man. I mean, 2020 graduate from Delaware State University, that's a big deal. How do you feel right now?
I feel great, given the circumstances. I'm grateful.
Excellent. So talk about your experience. I know you've been living in the neighborhood for over a decade now. What has it been like growing up in Riverside, being a part of Kingswood Community Center, and then transitioning to college to really take on the world and, one of the most prestigious, I would say, institutions of higher education, definitely in the state, but in the region with Delaware State University. I know I'm asking you a lot right now, but I feel like you represent our future, and we're really looking at you to carry this torch. So please speak to what it was growing up in Riverside and then being able to transition into college and now into, I guess, what they call the real world.
One, I want to thank you for having me on today. I appreciate you guys. To answer the first question, growing up in Riverside, honestly, for me, it was a mix. It was bittersweet. One, because bitter, it's hard growing up here. A lot of people won't survive this environment, and I see it every day how a lot of people don't survive this environment. At the same time, I tell people also, you want to see some of the strongest people in America, you can go to any housing project in any state, and you'll find some of the hardest, most determined, persevering people in history, because we make do with the little bit that we have, which is really next to nothing. With school, with my family, for instance, college was never something that was preached. It was graduate high school, you can do what you want. And I realized at an early age that I wanted to make a difference in the world somehow. I didn't know how exactly, but I'm finding my way. And I knew that college would be a stepping stone to whatever direction I wanted to take in life. So I decided to attend the only HBCU in the state, top 3 in the country, with Delaware State University. And it was the greatest decision I ever made.
Excellent. Wow, man, you're giving me goosebumps right now. I'm so proud just to have you on set with us right now and to be able to give you the platform to share that story. And I get that a lot from people that have lived in Riverside, that people that live in Riverside, that have been a part of this community, that they are built for anything the world might throw at them in the future. And we are definitely in difficult times right now. And I think that, Riverside is built for this, but we want to make sure that everybody comes out of this even better than, they came into this situation. So I'm going to go back to you, Mr. Rhodes, as a board chair of Kingswood Community Center. First, did you ever think that you would become the board chair of a community center where you actually grew up? You spent, some of your most formidable years at Kingswood.
I did not. And again, as we grow up, people always ask us, what do you want to do when you grow up? And you usually get police officer, firefighter, maybe lawyer, a businessman, but no one ever talks about being the chair of a particular board of an organization. And I certainly was no different. I never imagined in my wildest dreams that, I would someday chair the board of the very organization that was instrumental in my growth, my sister and I's growth growing up in Kingswood. But it's been a phenomenal experience. And what it comes down to is if you have an urge to serve and an urge to help people, that one day, our little children in the community now, that they too could someday become a board chair. And one of my goals in being in this position is to let people know that it's a position that we need younger people to start to think about. They're very worthwhile positions. We need them to start thinking about being in service-oriented positions like a board chair and giving back toward an organization like Kingswood.
Excellent. We appreciate your service and your willingness to come back to the very community that built you and made you, I would say, or at least contributed to the great man that you are. And I know everyone looks up to you in the community, and we are just pleased to have you as a part of our recent success and our future as we move forward. So Markevis, you are a worldwide star, and I don't say that in jest. You have been featured on one of the most household shows that I think everybody watches or has watched at some point in time, and that is Shark Tank. So tell us about that experience, because I know I was tuned in. I was at your viewing party at the Mill. Tell us what it's been like since you appeared on Shark Tank, and then also what you have done to support the community here in Riverside using that platform.
See, when people see myself or the company NERDiT Now, what they see is Shark Tank, Shark Tank, Shark Tank, and it's a blessing indeed. But we've been able to use that to leverage everything else that we want to do. For what people don't see is that 8-year-old kid, that 12-year-old kid, that 6-year-old kid growing up in the Riverside area, going to the Kingswood Community Center, one with minimum resources. See, the way I speak about Riverside today is completely different than I spoke about it 20 years ago. 20 years ago, you're a little ashamed. You're like, yeah, I grew up in the projects because all the other kids in school are talking about you. But then when you see other people that came before you coming back and pouring into your community, it gives you the sense of pride to want to do the same. And over the past 5 years, since we started this business, we want to make sure that we're very intentional with giving back to the community that's given so much to us. For it, if it wasn't for Reach Riverside, for places like this, I don't think I'd be half the man I am today. And for that reason, I want to make sure that we use everything that we have today to give back to the community. And the way we do that is we just been donating technology, showing people that there's different avenues to actually find success outside of some of the stereotypical ways for our race. One laptop changed my life. When I was given to it at 12 years old, I began to take it apart and put it together. It just made me the person I am today. I'm Microsoft Certified Systems Engineer by 17. And our business is doing good, but it's all about our community. So we have a few big donations coming out. I know on Monday we have, we're partnering with Kingswood to make sure that we donate computers back into some of the kids that reside in this community today. And just like Brother Rhodes said, Brother Rhodes, shout out Kappa Phi Psi,
Yes, sir.
greatest fraternity that you can ever ask for right now. But we want to also make sure that we come back into the community, and I followed his steps and was like, serving on the board manner for the warehouse is a small way that I can also give back to the community that's given so much to me. So it's a blessing to be a part of this whole movement. I watch in awe as you, Logan, take the steering wheel. You're just like guiding us towards making a better community for all. So for me to do the small little bit that we are doing, it's just a blessing, man, a blessing.
Well, thank you, Markevis, for that, for all that you do. And I may have the steering wheel, but you guys are definitely the tires that keep me moving forward and keep our organizations moving forward. So, Jaki, hearing all of the successful things that those before you have accomplished and continue to accomplish, how does that feel? Is that inspiring to you? I know as you take this next step in life that you can achieve your dreams, and then what are your next steps? I believe you're graduating, or you graduated from DSU with a major history degree. So what are your next steps in life? And then, how does listening to what Ray and Markevis doing help inspire you to achieve those goals that you're set forth for yourself?
Those guys are just phenomenal role models. You always hear a lot about, the people who make it out of Riverside, who don't come back to Riverside after they make it out. So to have, access to individuals who are from the same, neighborhood that I'm from, who are continuously giving back, who are continuously showing, signs of selfless service, that's a big deal for me because after, graduated, and I'm going to attend Delaware State again for my master's in public administration in order to give back to my community and my city as a whole also.
Well, Jaki, I know I speak for the group when I say this. If there's anything we can do to help you along the way, then please let us know. Did you pledge at DSU? Okay, because I knew the shout out was coming. I was waiting for Markevis or somebody to say that. I was waiting for some shoulder rolls or something. I know they got mics attached to them right now, so we don't want to mess up the audio. But I knew that was coming. But I digress. So, Ray, you have a background behind you, and first, I know I can congratulate you many times, and I know we're partnering on a number of initiatives, and not only are you, my boss technically as my board chair at Kingswood, but you are also my colleague and the new executive director at Christina Cultural Arts Center, following and trying to fill some humongous shoes with Ray Jones Avery before you. So, I just want to give you the opportunity to talk about the work that you're doing there and that opportunity and how you have just, again, taken that steering wheel and driving an organization with a tremendous history. So Ray, just, a couple minutes, talk about what you're doing and your plans to move Christina and keep Christina propelling forward, particularly during this difficult time that we find ourselves in.
Yeah, this time that we find ourselves in is no different for a lot of nonprofits. We are continuing to engage our stakeholders. Our teachers are engaged in distance learning. We're still teaching. 85% of our teachers are teaching, and we have 68% of our students that we have engaged in online learning. We're also providing access to social services for our parents, and that's very critical right now because of a lot of parents in our communities that Black and brown children live in. They don't have the access to the information, so we're providing that. We're providing tools, technological tools, thanks to NERDiT Now and Brother Gideon, that we'll be able to provide laptops to our parents and our students who don't have it. And we continue to push our mission forward despite being in this pandemic. And, Christina's over 75 years old, and this time is a little different than most in the past, but Christina thrived in the age of Jim Crow. We thrived during 9/11. We thrived during Sandy, Katrina, and most recently, even during the 2008 recession. So we're just using what we've done in those times. And again, you mentioned Ray Jones Avery, who has been phenomenal, a mentor, tutor of mine. She's the one who first got me interested in serving on board. So I shout out to her, and her tremendous leadership during this time has been phenomenal. So Christina continues to want to engage our community, but we do so now with the emphasis on social emotional learning, because at this time, people don't talk about the emotional effects that COVID is having on us. So we're engaging our parents, engaging our students to find out if they need professional therapists, professional counselors to help them deal with this situation. And at the end of the day, Christina continues to be a social icon in our community, because despite just teaching the arts and music, we are addressing those social issues that are running rampant in our community. For instance, we're teaching our students that it's okay to shoot cameras and not guns. It's okay to act out on stages and not in the classroom. And it's okay to beat on drums and not on each other, in particular, our young women. So all the social issues that are running rampant in our community, we're using those in our center to be able to teach our students other alternatives.
I know we all appreciate the fact that you do have the helm there at Christina Cultural Arts Center. And, the arts are one of those things that are being pushed to the side nationally with funding and resources that are lacking in those areas. So again, if there's anything we can do to continue to partner, collaborate, or, push some resources your way, we will not hesitate. And I thank you for your continued service at Christina, at Kingswood, and beyond. And interestingly enough, Kingswood and Christina Cultural Arts Center were founded in the very same year, I believe was 1946. So there's a parallel history there, and I appreciate your service to both.
That's right. Thank you.
Markevis, I want to come back to you and really talk about what spurred you to found NERDiT Now, and talk about the history there. And I believe there's a connection to Kingswood and maybe some personal stories that you have. And then talk about when you founded NERDiT Now and what NERDiT Now actually does for those at home that don't know.
So I kind of alluded to it a little bit earlier, but it really began when I was 12 years old, growing up in an underserved community, Riverside, to families who didn't graduate from high school, and things were just being imposed on my life that I didn't believe was going to be my fate. They told me how going to college probably wouldn't be within my reach, how leaving the tri-state area wouldn't really be within my space, let alone starting my own business. And I took that and I processed it. You're right, I won't go to college for 1 degree, I'm gonna graduate with 2. You're right, I'm not gonna just leave the Riverside, Wilmington area. I'm gonna live in China for 5 years, all the while opening up my own business. And after seeing all that I could do, like Jaki, you said it earlier, like when you come from a place like this, like you can do anything. Like you put off your Superman cape, like we can really do this, not for only ourselves, but for our community. And when I came back, I still saw that I needed to figure a way that I can personally help the community that's been given so much to me. I When that first computer was given to me, I didn't expect it to take me back to Howard High School of Technology to become a Microsoft Certified Systems Engineer. At 17, working at MBNA Bank. And honestly, when people see me today, they think, oh, technology is your passion. Not necessarily. My passion is being an entrepreneur. But when I could take my passion and fuse it together with my hobby, which is technology, put it all together, make money all the while having an impact in my community at the same time, it's like a win, 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 win. I'm winning all across the board, not for me, because I tell people it's not for me. It's not for my kid. It's for my community, because when my community's doing good, my kid is doing good, I'm doing good, we're all doing good collectively. And I want to just show people that you too can do it. You don't have to become a tech genius or an entrepreneur, but regardless of what you want to do, don't let others impose their limitations onto you. They told me when I started this business 5 years ago that the business will never work. I bought this 1986 Ford E350 Baltimore Ravens tailgating truck ambulance, and it absolutely never worked. And people were like, yep, I told you, you're going to fail. But we kept on going. And within 2 years, we went from being a 62nd IT company in the zip code to being the second fastest IT company in the state of Delaware before Shark Tank happened. And I'm like, okay, we're really making some movement now. Let's show other kids how they could do the same thing, how you could work for yourself, not for you, but for your community, and really uphold our community and show people that look just like them that they can do it too. If you want to wear the hood on your head, wear the hood on your head. If you want to wear a tie, get pretty with it, wear the tie. It don't matter where you come from, what resources you have before you. All you got to do is reach out to the good brothers like Brother Rhodes, Brother Herring, Brother Jaki. Like you come to us. Like we've been where you've been at. You can do it too. We're gonna help pull you up so that you can make an impact for your community. And that's what NERDiT Now is all about. Making sure that we show that you too can do it.
So Jaki, I know you got some big shoes to fill in following in these footsteps. What are your thoughts right now? What are you thinking? Or do you have any questions for Ray and Markevis?
My thoughts, honestly, are I'm just like, I'm ecstatic because one, like, I'm conversing with individuals that I've never conversed with, and then to find out that they're from Riverside, just like I am, like I stated earlier, that's even more amazing because the negative, effects of coming from Riverside, sometimes, like was stated earlier, you feel a bit embarrassed when you're younger, but as you grow older, you begin to embrace it. You come to understand that, okay, this is life, and how can I make my life, better, not only for myself, but those around me and future generations, that'll come after me. And right now, that's really all I'm trying to do. And even now, with me still living in Riverside, I'm in Riverside a lot. A lot of my time is devoted to being here because one, my mother lives here. Two, this is my home address. And three, I have a lot of friends and acquaintances who still reside in Riverside. So right now, I'm just honestly, for a moment, there was a huge stint of gun violence for like a span of like 2.5 months in Riverside. And, some of those individuals who were victims were some of my friends. So I decided, to try to, in whatever way I could, in whatever capacity I could to help, deter the violence within the community. And it worked in a way, just being out there, showing my face, letting people know that, okay, he's from Riverside, but he doesn't, necessarily, fall into, the trap that society has placed, with Riverside. Because like I tell people all the time, you go not too far down past 21st Street, you have Gander Hill. You go not too far past 29th Street, you have East Side Charter. So Riverside is really in a unique place, with the socioeconomic background of like all the people that live here, and then how we're surrounded by a prison, that's not too far from us, and then a school that's not too far from us, then a high school that's not too far from us. It puts us in a very unique situation to see the world around us, that if we make a wrong decision, prison is where we're laying. And if we make the right decision, we'll be successful.
Thanks, Jaki. They say pressure busts pipes, and pressure also makes diamonds. And what I see, the folks that I'm talking to right now, you are 3 diamonds who many people may have said have been transformed from the roughest neighborhood that we might actually have in the city of Wilmington or historically have in the Riverside neighborhood. And just being able to talk to all three of you, being able to connect all three of you, this is just a phenomenal opportunity. And I feel happy to be a part of this conversation, and knowing, Jaki, that this is the first time you've talked to Ray and Markevis, and knowing that you have this connection. And definitely after this show goes off, we'll make sure to connect, all three of you, so you have someone to lean on and talk to and relate to as you enter into this workforce in this real world, as the young man that you are and are becoming, in a sense. So we have about a minute left. I want each of you, Ray and Markevis, just to provide some words of wisdom, encouragement to a young brother, Jaki, right here. Take about 15 to 20 seconds each, just give him a little bit of encouragement, because this world is fierce, and particularly during this time, it's rough for us all. And I know that he's prepared for this, but anything that we can add and a little bit of encouragement wouldn't hurt.
Thanks, Logan. Yeah, so Jaki, I'm a great follower of the 90s hip hop era, and it was a lyricist, Rakim, who said, "It's not where you're from, it's where you at." So continue to just go from where you are. The only thing you have right now is the present. Certainly Kingswood provided a great foundation. You can learn from that. And obviously we don't know what tomorrow holds. I just want to leave with you also 3 C's that that help guide me. One is your craft, whatever it is, become the best at it. The second C is your conscious, continue to be consciously aware of everything around you. And lastly, your character, and that is who you are when no one's looking, and never compromise that for no one or nothing.
So Ray, thank you for those tremendous words of encouragement. Markevis, do you have any imparting wisdom for our brother Jaki here?
So Jaki, again, I say, if I could part 2 things with you. One, I said it already, don't let people impose their limitations onto you. I could say, you grew up in Riverside, you'll never make it out. You're too dumb, you can't go to college. That's out of hate, that's easy to go beyond, right? But when I say out of love, like, bro, are you sure you want to go to college? It's expensive. Like, are you sure you want to move from Riverside? Like, you want to go back into Riverside? That's out of love, and sometimes that's the harder thing to come. So when someone say, like, you're going to graduate and go back for your master's degree, like, it sounds a little challenging when it comes out of love. Like, you sure? Bro, don't let other people impose their limitations onto you, because it's something that they can't do, not you. And remember, I'm not sure your religious background. Me as a Christian, you got Buddha, you got the law of the universe, the law of attraction. Everything agrees by this one thing. It says, no matter what you throw into the atmosphere, it comes back to you. It's the law of attraction. You know that, right? But
Right.
what nobody said is that claiming it will be easy. So yeah, if you want to be an entrepreneur, if you want to become a historian, no matter what you want to do, claim it. It just won't be easy. It's not going to happen on your timeline, but it will happen. Young brother, continue to aspire, not only just like people younger than you, but us older people too. Like, we look up to you sometimes to see the things that you're doing, because you're going to encourage us to do things that we were afraid to do at your age. Keep on aspiring. Don't let people impose your limitations onto you, and never live out of fear, my man.
So Ray, Markevis, Jaki, thank you for joining us. Thank you for your continued commitment and contributions to our community. And thank you all for tuning in to our Lunch and Learn. We would love for you to continue to contribute, not just by watching, but participating. And we'd love for you to join us on our platforms, our social media platforms, the Reach Riverside, the Teen Warehouse, Kingswood Community Center. Tune into our partner and collaborator that's bringing to you these virtual Lunch and Learns, DETV. Make sure to support our Riverside Relief Fund that is bringing cash disbursements into our community, bringing technology into our community, making sure that everyone has healthy and nutritious food during this pandemic. We just appreciate your continued support. So visit us at reachriverside.org, visit all of our social media, and make sure to tune in next week at our next Lunch and Learn, Monday at noon.